All right. So a plan for this video is to show how to do some sort of circular pattern like you see here or here. Again, you don't have to use these sort of traditional chess piece shapes, but you're allowed to. And if you are, you may want to do some sort of pattern or feature like that. And so let's get to it. Excuse me. So the key to anything that you want to happen, like a precise amount of times and evenly spaced, is using the circular pattern tool. And that means that, I guess I can make these sort of from scratch. Starting with, you can either make it so that it is sort of everything but this top part, make one of these top parts and pattern it, or make this entire sort of column cylinder part and pattern the cuts, which is what I did here, where you just make one extrusion and then pattern it around that center axis. Okay, so I can do a rough version of each of these. So let's go ahead and do a new part. And I think the requirement for the rook is 3.25 inches. So I'm just going to start with sort of a framework. So I want the height to be 3.25. And because I want the base to be 1.5 inches across, the cross section or the revolve sketch is only 0.75 this way. And if I want the, essentially, I need to make it so that it is, suppress this and suppress this. I need to make this shape in order to make one of these cutaways. And once I have one of those cutaways, I can then pattern it that many times. So if I want this shape first, I know that there's not going to be any material at 3.25 inches in the center. It's going to be 3.25 inches when it gets to over here. So let's build it up from the bottom. Let's say I want this bottom part to be 0.25 tall. And let's get this out of the way. And then some sort of shape like this. Maybe an arc will look better. And I know up here that at about this full height, this is where I'm going to make that collar shape. And it's going to look something like this. But I need to connect it so that it's all either one closed loop or multiple closed loops. And so let's do a revolve. I'll choose every part that I want, which is all of these. And the center axis is going to be that guy. And there you have that up. I'm not crazy about the shape, but it's good for now. Maybe a nice little fillet here. That's kind of good. You know, whatever, it's artistic. I can't say it's wrong. How dare you? All right, so I need to make one of these cuts in there, which I think the easiest way, since I already have a flat surface here on the top, I'm just going to put a sketch there and make sort of a wedge that points to the center like this, that goes out past everything. And I don't want to get rid of this. That goes out past everything. Let's see if I can get a good angle on this. And then if I connect it, I can then cut extrude it down And even though it's significantly larger than, all I'm really cutting out is this in between space. It should work fine. So let's finish sketch and extrude and choose our shape. Well, I guess it does let me choose just that, but neither here nor there. Let's switch it to cut extrude and the distance I want. Let's see what 1/4 inch does. That's pretty good. I don't want it to go down into that, all the way down into that surface. So let's see what one of these looks like. Hit okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And then we'll do circular pattern. Circular pattern asks what feature do you want to pattern? I want to pattern the extrusion I just made, which is extrusion 1. And the rotation axis, you can pick anything that shares the same axis. So anything that's round up here. Although I suppose technically the pro way would be to find the axis that it actually goes around, which is the y-axis, but click on whatever. Decide how many you want. You know, if you have more than a certain amount, it's going to essentially just be like that, where if you have less than that, it will be more material than a whole. And you know, you're calling that design stuff. And there's that. All right, so something like this. Again, you're going to want to start with something. Let's suppress this and suppress this. Okay, this is going to be a little different because we're going to, well, how did I do that? Edit, unsuppress. Okay, so this is just a bunch of partial circles that cut straight down. Oh, well, let's do this. Let's take a look at what the sketch looks like. Edit sketch. Okay, so the way that I got those sort of rounded parts is just circles that are partially inside this like perimeter contour. And if you revolve all those together, it even a little bit on top. Did I not get that? Oh no, it's there. Oh no, I don't think it is there. Let's edit feature. We should be able to add a thing to it. Yeah, there we go. That's neither better nor worse, but that's fine. And let's, okay. So in order to do one of those cuts, in this particular case, we need a work plane to actually make the extrusion on, or make the sketch on, because we don't have, this particular shape doesn't have a flat surface to do start 2D sketch. So what we need is, in fact, I'm just going to delete all this stuff. Okay, we need a place to start a new sketch. So let's get a new work plane, offset from a plane, and we just need something flat, and we would need it to be above-ish. That's fine. Just out of the way. Hit OK. And now we have a work plane up here. Let's start a sketch on that plane. And to make sure everything lines up, let's project geometry of this edge. And now we have this circle that we can snap to. And we just need to make one of the shapes that we want to cut, which is probably going to be something like this. And I'm not even going to dimension it so that I can come back and change it pretty easily. I'm going to turn off the visibility on this plane because I think it's hurting things. Okay, so I have one circle there that's sort of up above it, but lines up with this edge perfectly. And we finish sketch and extrude and choose that circle and switch it to cut. But then we do have to switch it back to cut this way. And I think that's what I'm looking for, making sure it doesn't cut into the other part. But there you go, there's one of those. And then let's pattern it. Circular pattern. What feature do you want to pattern? I want to pattern this extrusion, which rotation axis, anything that's round, and how many of them? I think I can fit a couple more. How about, what does 10 look like? What does 12 look like? I want them to almost touch. Is that gonna look good? Yeah, that's not too bad. I think that might even be an improvement, what I had. Okay, so that is the circular pattern tool. Whenever a new thing shows up, the first button that is highlighted, that's what it's asking for. What feature or features do you want to pattern? And once you choose that, you can select which axis you want to spin it around, which is almost always going to be the vertical axis for anything that is based on a single revolve or revolution. All right. So there is the circular pattern tool for chess pieces. Let me know if you have any questions. Go.